We have our speaker for this session, Mr. Sudip Sinha, CEO of Tata Quality Management Services. He has introduced many innovations, which he's going to be talking about in the organization, and how these innovations and change, which is a continuous process, have brought about the transformation in the organization. Mr. Sudip Sinha is the CEO of Tata Quality Management Service since 2005. He has helped make business excellence a vital part of business at companies across Tata Group. He is now doing the same for innovation by organizing programs such as InnoVista, which celebrates successful innovators and impressive innovation projects that ultimately failed across the corporate family. Very, I would say it's an innovative thought also, and a very thought-provoking thought which is there in his bio, which was extended to me. The philosophy of innovation. Innovation is inspired by audacious goals, nurtured and achieved in a climate of free thought and uninhibited by the fear of failure. So move ahead, innovate, and let us hear from Mr. Sudip Sinha what is the mantra of innovation. I invite you, sir, here.
Very good morning. And I think we started with a bit of failure, examples of innovation, which some of them are very well known, some of them are not so well known in Tata Group. But before that, it's maybe a good idea to know a bit more about what is Tata Group and where I come from, Tata Quality Management Services, what are we doing, and then we'll talk about innovation. So many of you would know that this is a group which is almost 140 years in existence, and today it is in 7 business sectors like materials and automobiles, IT, communication, hospitality, and automobiles, and so on and so forth, power. We have about 380,000 people worldwide, and in 2009 the group revenue was 70 billion. Tata Group has started expanding outside the shores of India in 21st century in the last 4 or 5 years, and today the group revenue which comes from overseas operation is about 65% of the total revenue. So our existence is more predominant outside than it is inside. And let me talk a little bit about the group holding structure. And as you can see in this, there are 2 companies which are shown in yellow color. These are Tata Sons and Tata Industries. And these are the 2 companies which are the holding company for the group. And other companies like Tata Steel, Motors, TCS, Power, Chemicals, they are the companies which are promoted by Tata Sons and Tata Industries. If you can see the top left-hand chart, you will find the ownership of the holding company, which is Tata Sons. And what is interesting here is that 66% of Tata Sons, which is the holding company of all Tata companies, is held by public trusts. So 66% of the profit which comes to Tata Sons goes into public trust, goes into improving quality of life, goes into nation building, and that has been the value system of the group for the last 140 years. My company, which is known as Tata Quality Management Services, TQMS in short, is part of the promoting company Tata Sons. And our role is, when it was set up in 1995, the role was to promote excellence using Malcolm Baldrige framework. And then we realized that excellence and ethics go hand in hand, and we adopted a formal process to ensure that all businesses run ethically and excellently. And this is something which is the cornerstone, which is the foundation of the manner in which the business is run in Tata Group. We realized 5-6 years back that there are many companies who have failed because of corporate governance, and the examples are galore. Enron, WorldCom, and here in India, Satyam, many companies have failed, and we thought that we need to be perceived as doing something extraordinary in this area. So we have initiated a corporate governance assessment for all companies. All company boards, they have to go through a corporate governance assessment almost every year to see that these processes are strong and guiding the management of various companies in Tata Group. Safety is not an issue when we look at the Western world. The mindset of safety is very different as compared to what we see in India. When we started our forays into international businesses, we realized that this is something which is really embarrassing for us. We are kind of killing people in our operations, and we were not so mindful of the fact that people are dying because of the unsafe practices in our operations. So Tata Group has decided that we'll strive to be one of the foremost company in creating a safe and safe work environment for our employees. So safety is an issue which we have taken up very strongly, although we have a very long way to go, because we still don't have the right mindset for our own safety, leave aside somebody else's safety. In 2005-06, we realized that a difference between the leading companies and us is that the leading companies have one thing in common, and that is they dream, they dare, they aspire, they question, and most importantly, they innovate. And we realized that if we have to come in the league of leading companies, we need to promote innovation in a very systematic manner. Innovation was always there in Tata Group, and there is a story in the corridors of Bombay House that way back in 19th century, when Mr. Jane Tata was setting up the cotton mill, Impress Mill in Nagpur, he was strongly advised against choosing the venue or choosing the site in Nagpur, because Nagpur is a very dry and hot place, and for cotton mill, experts thought that you need a humid environment, and that's why all the cotton mills used to be in Mumbai and Manchester those days. Mr. Tata responded by saying that I will only set up the cotton mill in Nagpur, and if required, I'll import a conducive weather. And people didn't know what is importing conducive weather means. And what he did, he went to the Western countries, he went to Europe and USA, and he imported humidifiers, which would create that conducive environment for production of cotton. So innovation was part of the DNA of Tata Group, but it was sporadic. And I don't think we were innovating enough, and we thought that this is something we need to take forward. And finally, 3-4 years back, we realized that while we have done some work in corporate social responsibility, one of the areas which have got missed our attention to a great extent was climate change. So this is another chapter we have inserted in our excellence journey, and climate change is something which is all companies are promoting a low carbon lifestyle, a low carbon growth strategy that all companies have to look at. Mr. Tata is known to be very passionate about innovation, And he very firmly believes that innovation comes by creating a culture for innovation, creating an environment for innovation. And he feels that unless there is an environment, you can't innovate. And you can hear in his own voice what he thinks about innovation.
Yeah. We all get hung up on structure before we get involved with achievement. And in many cases, I find whenever you try to say something, someone says, what about the structure? What about the organization? My concern is innovation will not evolve necessarily because you create a structure. Innovation has to be part of the DNA of that organization, or somehow we have to bring out the creative strengths of our people. You don't need a structure for that. You can have an idea at 2 o'clock in the morning that wakes you out of your sleep. We need to have an environment that when you come into work and say, I had this idea and I believe it deserves some thought, that the company should not put you down. If that, somebody should be able to see the value or not, or say that there's no value, but that there should be a means of not being frustrated with that. And that doesn't mean that stupid ideas have to clutter up people's working day. I'm just trying to say that we should create a space where we can, in fact, lead and do things differently and do things that others have not done. We will not, in the long term, in a global environment, ever be leaders unless we are also innovators.
So, what we have defined for ourselves, there are many, many definitions for innovation, but what we have understood, defined for ourselves, that we look at innovation in a very, very holistic manner, which means innovation for product, service, business model, and more importantly, social application. Social application innovation is very crucial, and today I'll talk about some of the examples of social applications of innovation. Obviously, culture, environment comes first rather than the process for innovation. People say, is it the first in the world? Is it the first in the industry? And these debates in some way come in the way of innovation. So we said, innovation, consider anything which is difficult to replicate, consider anything which creates new value for the customer, and we call it innovation. And obviously, we are not talking about a short-term gain, we are talking about long-term, 30, 40 years of impact when we talk about proper innovation. So in 2006, we formed a group called Tata Group Innovation Forum, which is chaired by one of the directors of Tata Sons, Mr. Gopal Krishnan. And we have a number of CEOs who are strategizing for innovation in Tata Group. And the charter is inspire, enable, and create a positive change in Tata companies for fostering innovation. So it's all about making a difference in the environment. It's making a difference in the culture. It's making a difference in the way we look at the world around us. It's not so much about process, which will anyway happen. So it was a difficult journey to start with, because we didn't know. We talked to different experts and they gave different thoughts on innovation. And innovation to us 5 years back looked like 6 blind men and the elephant. Somebody was saying process is innovation. Somebody said absence of process is innovation. Somebody said creativity is innovation. Somebody said something else is innovation. And we were quite confused that how do we define in such a huge group which has 100-odd companies, which has 380,000 people, how do we define innovation? So we thought seeing is believing. And we went and saw innovation in top companies in the world. We went to Microsoft, Intel, 3M, HP, Nanotechnologies, Raytheons. We went to Japan. We went to see innovation in Fujifilms, in Itoen, in Nissan, in Hitachi, various companies we went and saw how do they manage innovation. And based on which we created some of our initiatives on innovation. The first thing that we created, we thought what gets measured gets done. And that's the very strong paradigm amongst the line managers. And if they see something can be measured, that gets reviewed and that gets done. So we created a product, not created, we adopted a product called Innometer. We named it Innometer. And Innometer is modeled based on Professor Julian Birkinshaw, who is from London School of Economics, his study. And it measures innovation on two parameters. One is the culture for innovation, and another is the process for innovation. And the culture for innovation is measured in two extreme ends. On one end, it is the constraining culture, and on the other end, it is the chaotic culture. So the instrument is such that you can stick it in a department of a company, or you can stick it in a company, talk to people, do some interviews, and you will find out whether there is a culture for innovation or not. Is this company too direction oriented? Is this company that the culture is that they give very little time and space for thinking new things? Do they accept failure in the stride? Is the culture very oppressive? Or they have no direction, too much of space and time given to the people? So you get some idea of what is the culture for innovation. And secondly, how is the process for innovation? How is the process for idea generation? How is the process of idea conversion? And finally, how is the process for commercializing or diffusing the idea which can really create value, new value for the customer? So that's a very interesting tool which we are using in different companies. And I am sharing with you some of the results that we have obtained in our companies. And you can see that on idea generation, our average is still very low as compared to the benchmark figure, which is figure out of 5-point scale, 4.5, and this figure comes from the top companies in the world. Conversion, still we have a long way to go. Diffusion, we have a long way to go. So we have identified what are the problems that we are facing. We need to be more stronger in idea generation and focus more on improvement and implementation of innovative ideas. And these are the typical results we get. Gives line managers some lead into what can be done to improve the innovation climate in the company. And this is serving as a very, very useful tool for us to create a culture for innovation, for us to create a strong process for innovation. We initiated, this is something we learned from 3M and some other companies. We initiated a process called Tata Innovista. And Tata Innovista is nothing but we invite innovative projects. But what we did differently was everyone talks about successful project. It's very well known, and in India there are a number of competitions about successful project. But we also learned from various studies that there are 2-3 things which are very essential for innovation. First thing is you need to have a big, audacious, hairy goals. And yesterday we were having in Pune, we were having a discussion on innovation where Dr. Ramesh Mashelkar was having a chat with the young guy Girish Wagh, who led the project on Nano, about what he thinks about some of the important elements of innovation. And he also said that innovation has to be driven by a very big, audacious, hairy goal. And if that is there, their creative juices flow in the minds and bodies of people, and they do something extraordinary. Ordinary people do something extraordinary. Second thing is there has to be a culture of risk-taking. And we thought initially that we have a great culture of risk-taking, and Tata Group nurtures innovation. But when we started the Dare to Try project, which are the projects which have failed, we realized that out of 380,000 people, only 7 dared to come and share their failures. Only 3 teams in India came forward to share their failures. And we said, why? They said, no. The corporate culture is about hearing good news. The corporate culture is about what's going right. Very few companies discuss very patiently and passionately what's going wrong. And we had to convince them, we have to give them comfort that you will not lose your salary, you will not lose your bonus. We'll make sure that you become a hero, but please share your failure stories. And gradually the thing started moving, and we are happy that today we have number of failure stories, and these failures are recognized in the group. They are invited to an annual function like this. Mr. Tata gives trophies to people who have failed in doing some bold experimentation. Now let me clarify here, we had a lot of debate. How will this create a culture of failure in the operations? And we had to clarify that no, if a person is supposed to make donut, and if he fails in making donut, then it's not rewarded. Then, you have to take suitable action. But if someone is taking bold experimentation, if someone is really taking risk, going out of the way to do things differently, then we are going to recognize that person. Then we are going to invite that person on the stage, and we give them trophy. This is something which is working very, very well. And then we introduced another thing which is called the leading edge, and these are the innovations which are ideas for the future, which are not part of the businesses today, but they will create new businesses in future. They are white space innovation. So these are, and you can see the chart is in front of you. These innovations are taking momentum year after year. Large number of innovations are coming up, and I'll share with you some of these examples. In these, still most of the innovations are product service innovation, 61%, and then process innovation and business model innovations are still less. Business model innovations are less, which is an indication that we are in the early stages in the game. We have a long way to go, and we are looking forward to a time when we have a large percentage of business model innovation. It will take time. It starts with process and service innovation. We looked at failure. Now this is extremely insightful. We looked at failure. Why are these projects failing? And we found that 21% are failing because of technology. The technology is not available. They are not helping in scaling up the whole thing. poor customer acceptability, not because the product is bad, it is because the product is ahead of its time. Now, when there was no dare to try category for recognition, these projects used to be brushed under the carpet. Today, we identify these projects and we rework on that, and we try and make sure that these succeed, maybe not today, maybe after 2-3 years from now. So that is something very interesting that we are getting. The failed project are now leading to a successful project. Could not get internal buy-in because of the culture, because some of the heady line managers, they said, no, this will not work. We have been here for 30 years, and the only thing will work is what we have learned in 30 years. So again, these are the issues which are getting resolved. I'll talk about 2 innovations today. One is successful innovation which was done in Tata Chemicals. And the Tata Chemicals is the second largest soda ash producer in the world. And for producing soda ash, the company generates 0.4 tons of soda ash, solid waste, for every ton of soda ash. And these solid waste is very alkaline and saline in nature. And over a period of time, there is a huge pile which has got accumulated at the soda ash manufacturing sites, leading to loss of good land, leading to dust emission and poor aesthetic of the place, and leading to public discontent and regulatory pressures. And in the last few decades, 12 soda ash companies all over the world have been closed because of this problem of solid waste. And in our Mithapur site, which is the Tata Chemical site, for last 20 years, we have been dumping this solid waste, and we have created a huge pile of unwanted material which is creating a huge problem. Now the challenge was what to do with that. Should we close the company? Should we do something about this waste? And a set of young people, they experimented with the help of TERI, and they found that certain types of plants or grass can survive in a very saline or alkaline land, and they can, they can survive in that extremely difficult conditions. When their roots were studied microbiologically, it was observed that there is a special chemical reaction which is taking place, which is helping them to survive in these conditions. And you can see the picture that you are seeing in front of you. This is the solid wasteland. This is how it used to look. A few years back, we started working, and we started growing plants by using special process. And today, 22 out of 30 acres land has transformed to a green lush plantation site. We are growing various kinds of vegetables. Around 44,000 plants are there. The whole chain of biodiversity exists today. You can find, ants, frogs, snakes, insects, everything. And the whole thing has brightened up once again. The land is being used. And this is an innovation which has a potential to be taken to different parts of the world. And we are trying to take this innovation to our other chemical sites in Wyoming, in Green River, and so on and so forth. This is a learning from 3M. We got the researchers from different companies together to innovate. And we realized that today innovations are taking place at the boundaries of technology. It is not taking place so much in one technology. It takes place at the boundary of nanotechnology and biotechnology. It takes place at the boundary of various other technologies. So we get technologists from different companies, and we created clusters on nanotechnology, plastics, IT, water. We created clusters with the help of DuPont and Corning. And we are working together to use different technologies that these companies have innovated, and how can we create new products and services and market it using our value chain process. Now, through this process, we created a product which is very well known product, water purifier called Swachh. And the reason we worked on that, this is a innovation which has a social application. This is a product which was created to improve the quality of life. And because, you can see the problems. Half of the world hospitals' beds are occupied by patients suffering from waterborne disease. And every 15 seconds, a child dies because of a waterborne disease. So it's a huge, huge problem. And if you see business-wise also, in the chart below, you will find that this shows the percentage of household items in Indian homes. And TV penetration is 76 out of 100 homes, whereas water purifier is just 2.3. So people do not care so much about pure water. They are not so much aware about the importance of pure water, and we needed to develop something which will give them pure water. It was because of lack of ignorance, lack of motivation, and so on and so forth. So this product was created, Tata Swachh, which is based on natural rice husk ash technology using nanotechnology. And what is important is the cost of this water filter is 999 rupees, around 20 odd dollars. The cost of water purification is 0.2 cents per liter, or 2 cents for a family of 5. Last month I was invited by Harvard Business School to talk about innovation, and when I discussed this, Harvard has taken a lot of interest in promoting this product in a lot of underdeveloped countries, because they also have realized that water is a very, very big problem, and perhaps Tatas have made a small, very minuscule contribution towards solving that problem. No electricity required, no running water required, and a $20 can give you safely up to 300 liters of drinking water. So this is a new innovation, and this audio visual, I guess it is the voice quality is somehow not working. Voice is not working here on this, so I'll move forward. And finally, all of you know about Nano. It's very well known product and very well acknowledged product. So I'll just talk a little bit about Nano, but before that, let's hear what Mr. Tata has to say. Can you do something about the voice? This was playing earlier. Okay, leave it. The story goes like this, very well known, documented, chronicled story that he saw people, 5, 6 people on a two-wheeler moving around in a very unsafe way, and he thought, why I can't do something, why can't we create some safe mode of transportation? And we asked him, what did you set out to do? What did you set out to do in, when this thought came to you? And he said that I started with a two-wheeler, and I was giving a shape, a two-wheeler, a shape of a four-wheeler. He's an architect, so he says, I used to draw sketches how I can convert a two-wheeler into a four-wheeler. But by 2005, he gave a very clear-cut direction that we will not create an apology of a four-wheeler. We'll create something which is as good as any four-wheeler in the market. And this four-wheeler has to have three things. One is, it has to have acceptable performance, it has to meet safety and regulatory norms, and it has to come in that price band of within 1 lakh rupees, $2,500. One day we were asking him, how did you come to this $2,500? He said, I didn't decide that. I was in a motor show and I talked about this to the journalist, and so the journalist said, so Mr. Tata, what should be the cost of a low-cost car? He said, I don't know, we'll figure out. So they said, do you think 1 lakh, it could be 1 lakh? He said, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe. And next day there was a huge headline, Tatas will make a 1 lakh car. And Mr. Tata said that I had a choice to refute and say, I never said that. It was recorded. I could have done that. But he said, I reflected and I said, why not take this as a challenge and do something to create a 1 lakh car? And he said, I decided the latter and took it as a challenge without knowing we can make it for 1 lakh. So someday, some of us asked him, so what do you think, what is the mantra of innovation, Mr. Tata? And he said, to me, the mantra of innovation is take a big goal and make a public announcement of that. He says, if you take a big goal and keep it in your heart and keep it in your drawer, that will never get operationalized. Make a public announcement and the innovation will happen. So here is the product which was innovated out of a hairy, big, audacious goal which was announced publicly. I am told, yesterday during the discussion, I am told that till Nano was launched in Delhi, you remember 2008, Nano was launched in Delhi. Till that time, the project team was not sure that it will go commercial. And that day they realized that they can't go back from there. So it has to be produced. So within the Tata Motors and Tata Group also, people didn't believe that they are going to do something so extraordinary which will catch the attention of the world. In terms of some challenges, some innovations, these are some innovations which is in front of you. This is a very highly fuel efficient car, 23 liters per kilometer, which is people in Harvard Business School, their jaws dropped because as compared to American cars, this gives 55 miles per liter, per gallon, which is very, very high, and so on and so forth. The innovations are related to fuel efficiency. Look at the carbon emission. It's 103 grams per kilometer. If you take a competing vehicle in the market, it will be close to 130 to 150 grams per kilometer. So in a way, it is greener than the competing vehicles. A lot of innovations were done with respect to wiper of the car, with respect to wheels of the car, with respect to the engine of the car, with respect to positioning of the engine of the car. So a lot of things were done which were never done in the past. And we have written a book called Small Wonder. And I was wanting to get this book, some copies for you, but I couldn't carry it with me. But I'll make sure that after lunch you will see this book somewhere outside for display. This book has been launched, which has chronicled the story of Nano. And this has chronicled the softer aspect of story of Nano, not the technology. Many other people have written about technology, but this chronicles the softer aspect of nano. So that's the story, the journey of innovation in Tata companies. We have taken a very humble, modest step towards creating a culture of innovation. It is the beginning of the journey. We have a long way to go, and I'm sure in this journey we'll have lots of exciting time. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm really thankful to your attention and patience for this talk. I'll be happy to take any questions if you have time, or we can take questions maybe you would like later. We can take questions later, maybe during the coffee time. Thank you very much.